Hi, welcome to this video on Point Evidence Explains. I'm going to do a few little short videos on a different part of mice and men and how to put it into an A grade PE. This video is on Curley's wife being cruel. So these are the ones that we could talk about in the control assessment. The one we're going to be looking at in this video is Curley's wife being cruel. So just quickly before we go into the Point Evidence Explains, it's really important to get the hang of this video, because if you just talk about plot, which is what some people do when they struggle in their controlled assessments, this is what is going to happen really. You're not going to get above an E if you just talk about plot. So the perfect PE then, obviously you make a point, evidence, explanation, and where we're going to get the higher grades after that is we're going to zoom in on language. So we're going to zoom in on a word on the quote, and then we're going to try and discuss context, because like we said, if we talk about 1930s America, hopefully we're going to get a better grade. So here's the quote: "Well, you keep your place then, nigger. I could get you strung up on a tree, so easy it ain't even funny." So we're going to look at that and we're going to base on this quote. So my point is, Curley's wife shows her cruel side to a number of the characters in chapter 4. It's really important that you don't go overboard in your point. A lot of people get confused where they make their point 3 or 4 sentences and it goes all over the place. Just keep it very short, very simple. My quote is the one above. So all I'm doing in my explanation is basically explaining why that quote proves my point. So why that quote, "Well, keep your place then, nigger, I could get you strung up on a tree so easy it ain't even funny." Why that quote proves she is cruel? Well, basically it's proven she's cruel because she's threatening to get him lynched. So she's threatening to get Crooks cruel. So already in one sentence I would have proved why she's being cruel. And then what we want to do is we're going to zoom in on, and there's a picture of lynching if you're not too sure what it is. Then what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on pieces of the language. So what I mean by that is we're going to pick out 1 or 2 words in the quote and analyse them in detail. So for example, here's the 3 things I think you could pick from this quote. 1, keep your place. 2, the use of the word nigger or the insult nigger. And 3, she says so easy. I could get you strung up so easy. So first of all, your place. Well, we could talk about that she is basically saying keep your place as a black man on the ranch, as at the bottom, but she's also saying keep your place as a black man in society at the bottom. We could zoom in on the word on nigger, and although it wouldn't be considered racist at the time, obviously they had a racist society, she's definitely using it as an insult to put him down, so we could definitely use that. And the last one we're going to zoom in on is so easy, so almost like a click of the fingers. So what I'm saying by that is Steinbeck could have just said, "I could get you strung up on a tree." However, so easy suggests she could do it as quickly and as easily as just clicking her fingers. It wouldn't be a big deal for her to do at all. And then we're going to try to maybe go into detail a little about 1930s, 1 or 2 sentences, maybe explaining what lynching is. So it's hanging a black man from a tree if he was accused of a crime. And maybe we could go into detail 1930s even more and talk about where women's place in society. Obviously, in every quote, you're not going to be able to do 3 zoom-ins and 2 context, but we should be able to do 1 zoom-in and 1 context at least. Okay, so my point is, Curley's wife shows her cruel side to the number of the characters in chapter 4. Then I've got my quote. And in my explanation, I'm just saying why that quote proves she's cruel. So Curley's wife is suggesting she will get Crooks lynched if he continues to talking to her. And then I'm going to zoom in. So I'm not going to zoom in hugely. I'm just going to do 1 sentence on each of my zoom in things. So easy. So the so easy phrasing makes it sound like she can make it happen as easily as breathing out. I've explained why they've used so easy. Then keep your place. This suggests she wants him never to forget his place in society and the ranch as a black man. And then the N-word, she also calls him a nigger, and while this might not be considered racist in 1930s America, we sense she's using it as an insult. So it's not a big deal, it's just 1 sentence on each of the things we've picked out. Then 1930s, in the 1930s, black men would have been hanged from a tree if they were accused of a crime. There would have been no judge or jury, but they would have been just killed on a white person's accusation. They were hanged from a tree as a punishment, as a warning to other people. So although this seems a lot, all it really is a couple of sentences in each one. It's a 1-line explanation. It's 1 line on each zoom in things, 1 sentence. And in the context, I've just done a couple of sentences explaining what lynching is. So this is all pretty simple. However, if we put it all together, it becomes an A grade paragraph. If you just did the green, red and pink, You might get a C if you did that all the way through. However, it might be a high D. You're not definitely going to get your grade. However, we want to get Bs and we want to get A's. So if you talk about your zooming in, if you talk about your context, you've got a really good chance of doing it. So remember, point, evidence, explain, and then zoom in on some words and discuss in the context in 1930s America. That's the end of the video. It's pretty short, pretty simple. If you get your head around zooming in and context as well as your explanation, you're going to do well in your controlled assessment.